Hare Krishna. As chanting is the Yuga Dharma, the question, can one go back to Godhead just by chanting, even if one doesn't take initiation from a spiritual master? If one feels that Srila Prabhupada is there and I'll take his instructions and I'll become spiritually advanced. So can one go back to Godhead without initiation at all, just by chanting the holy names? Answer: there is a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita which talks that the glories of the holy name are so great that even without a spiritual master one can go back to Godhead. That the holy name can take us back to Godhead just by its attentive chanting. Now Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that ultimately it is the holy name that takes us back to Godhead. At the same time, one needs training in the chanting of the holy names. One needs guidance about how to chant the holy names. And for that one needs the Guru. And we see that in the 64 items of devotional service that Rupa Goswami talks about, the first 5 are actually related with spiritual master. Adhav Guru Pada Ashraya. First is take shelter of a Guru. Then Vishrambhena Guru Seva, serve the Guru submissively. Then Sadharma Prucha, ask about the true Dharma from the spiritual master. So like that, the service connection with the spiritual master is very important. And the connection with the spiritual master reinforces our connection with the holy name. It deepens, solidifies, strengthens our connection with the holy name and enables us to take shelter of Krishna. So in principle, we can say that the chanting of the holy names is powerful enough and it can take us back to Godhead. But at the same time, we have to understand that the chanting of the holy names is a part of a process, and that process is meant to purify and transform our heart to help us develop love for God. So to enable us to develop love for God, we also need examples of those who have developed that love for God or those who are striving to develop that love for God. And we need their guidance on a practical level also. So as an exception, there may be a few souls who just by the chanting of the holy names may go back to Godhead. We can't deny that power to the holy name. The holy name has that power. But generally, Krishna manifests his mercy and his power through his devotees in this world. So, generally Krishna gives his mercy through those who represent him, those who share his message with the world. And that's why if somebody wants to approach Krishna by bypassing those who represent him, Krishna is not pleased with such attitude. And that's why the spiritual success becomes much less probable. So that means there are two different principles over here. One is the power of the holy name, and the other is the principle that Krishna's grace manifests through his devotees. So therefore, both principles have to be respected. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has talked about 3 principles: Nameruchi, Vaishnava Seva, and Jivadaya. So Vaishnava Seva means we serve devotees. So we want to be attracted to the holy name. At the same time, we have to serve the devotees also. So the way Srila Prabhupada has taught Krishna consciousness, he has made it very emphatic that we need a spiritual master. And he would quote from the Mundaka Upanishad, Tadvijnanartham sagurum eva abhigachit. One must go to a spiritual master to learn. So in general, we do need a spiritual master, and it is not for us to judge who is how spiritually advanced. We shouldn't, if somebody is chanting sincerely and is making spiritual advancement, there may be in history devotees who without spiritual master may also become very advanced. Who knows, they in their previous life might have been very advanced devotees, and this life they had initiation from a spiritual master in the previous life, and they're simply continuing from there in this life. So there can be exceptions to the rule, but the exceptions don't falsify the rule. The rule is that bhakti sanjayate bhakti. We need living representatives of the tradition to inspire us with bhakti. Now it may also be possible that we get a lot of inspiration just by chanting the holy names. We get inspiration from the previous acharyas. We get inspiration from Prabhupada more than even our current spiritual master. All those possibilities are perfectly acceptable because inspiration cannot be legislated. But at the same time, the way Srila Prabhupada gave us Krishna consciousness, he would often quote the word that Shruti Smriti Puranadi, Pancharatri ki vidhim bina, Aikanti ki harer bhakti, utpataya kalpate. So if we follow bhakti which is not scriptural, then although it is bhakti, it creates a disruption in society. So that's why not deliberately avoiding the principle of taking shelter of a spiritual master is not a devotional attitude. And it will not please Krishna, it will create a disruption in society, and it is most likely that we will not be able to access the power of the holy name in its fullness. We'll surely get some benefit by chanting the holy names, but we'll not get the benefit in fullness. Srila Prabhupada would say that initiation is like the beginning of spiritual life. Initiation, it's initiation. Whatever we chant and practice devotional life before initiation, that definitely contributes to our spiritual advancement. But the formalization of the relationship with the commitment that it brings and the seriousness that it brings during it through the ceremony of initiation, that it takes our spiritual life to another deeper level, higher level. And as devotees, we shouldn't use the glory of the holy name as a justification for not surrendering to the spiritual master. What we should do is we now acknowledge the glory of the holy name and recognize that surrender to the spiritual master is the way by which we access the glory of the holy name. And the power of the holy name becomes available to us through the spiritual master. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that the spiritual master invests the holy name in the mantra. That means the mantra is there as the letters and they have power. But then the spiritual master chants in the initiation beads and prays for the disciple, then the spiritual master invests the mantra, invests the holy name in the mantra, and the mantra's potency becomes far greater. Just as, in a sense, just as when the after the prana pratishtha is done, then Krishna becomes manifest through the deity. So the Krishna is not different from the deity, but the manifestation doesn't always happen. So similarly, in a similar sense, not entirely similar, but in a somewhat similar sense, based on this example of this point of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that through the initiation of the spiritual master, the power of the holy name becomes accessible to us, and that's why we should consider initiation as extremely important. Thank you. Hare Krishna.